Hi, I am Lee,
And I'm LeBron.
and today we're here to discuss to you what is inside the Republic Act number 7394, or otherwise known as the Consumers Act of the Philippines, and discuss to you, our viewers, why is it so important for us to always uphold it every time, especially with people being stuck inside due to the quarantine restrictions caused by the pandemic. Due to this, we as consumers and buyers are much more susceptible to deceptive and harmful products and services as companies try to cut costs and cheap out due to the ongoing economic recession. With that in mind, what does the Consumer Act of the Philippines really entails for us? The Consumer Act of the Philippines states us that it is the policy of the state to protect the interests of the consumer, promote his or her general welfare, and to establish the standards of conduct for business and industry. Toward this end, the state shall implement measures to achieve the following objectives. Number one, protection against hazards to health and safety. Number two, protection against deceptive, unfair, and unconscionable sales acts and practices. Number three, provisions of information and education to facilitate sound choice and proper exercise of rights by the consumer. Number four, provision of adequate rights and means of redress. And lastly, number five, the involvement of consumer representatives in the formulation of social and economic policies.
Hmm, looks like a pretty useful law. But what are the things or rights that it entails to us, consumers and ordinary people alike? And is it that really important to us?
Well, if we were to look at our everyday lives, we could see that it all revolves around buying and consuming products and services from other people, from the food that we put on our plate and consume, up to the leisurely activities we purchase for fun. From this, we could say that it's very important law that protects us from many forms of dangers brought on by these necessities, and overall promotes good general welfare. If we were to summarize the whole law or Republic Act, we could break it down into eight equal parts or rights that ensures these things. With the first one being the right to basic needs and necessities. This basically tells us that we, as a consumer, have the right for products that guarantee survival, gives us adequate food, clothing, shelter, healthcare, education, and sanitation to everyone. Basic and prime commodities at affordable prices and good quality should also be available to us. Number two, the right to safety. This protects consumers against marketing of hazardous goods and services that could cause harm and death to buyers and consumers alike. Number three, right to information. This protects consumers against dishonest or misleading advertising or labeling. It also provides the rights of facts and information to help the consumers make an informed choice when buying said products or services. Number four, the right to choose. This is a consumer's right to choose from a various products at competitive prices with an assurance of good quality. Number five, the right for representation. This provides the consumer with the right to input consumer interest or concern in governmental policies, especially policies pertaining to issues that affect the overall well-being of the consumer. Number six, our right to address. This provides the consumer with the right to compensate for misrepresentation of poor quality goods or unsatisfactory services by a company or seller. Number seven, our right for education. This is the consumer's right to obtain the necessary knowledge and skills to be an informed customer or consumer. And lastly, number eight, our right to a healthy environment. This is the consumer's right to live and work in an environment that is neither dangerous nor threatening to promote their overall well-being. This connects with business practices that could possibly harm our environment, such as proper waste disposal of factories and or air pollution caused by them.
Hmm, those are some pretty beneficial rights, especially for us ordinary people who couldn't really fight that against big companies that has a lot of money to throw around for them to cover up their dirty practices and dealings, or people who doesn't have enough knowledge about these issues.
Yeah, of course they are. That's why we are trying to make this law much more well known to other people so they can exercise their rights as consumers and buyers.
Well, now that we know that the Consumer Act of the Philippines is all about, what are some examples wherein we can exercise these rights or we can use these laws, especially in this pandemic?
One example of this is when we are buying stuff on online stores, where we aren't really able to check the products ourselves with our own eyes and on our own. So we, as buyers, we will force trust on the seller's given pictures and description of the said product. If the seller sent the buyer the wrong stuff with malicious intent or intent to cheat someone's money from them, the victim could possibly raise this problem to the DTI or any government organization that handles this matter and possibly charge the culprit with at least a fine of 5,000 pesos to 2 million pesos, or in other cases, a sentence of 15 years in prison.
Wow, that's some pretty serious punishment for a crime like that.
That's because it is, and it also helps in deterring people from doing this type of stuff.
Yes, that's pretty reasonable.
I guess now you realize how important the Consumers Act of the Philippines, huh? Especially with all of the injustice and problems that our country is facing right now, especially due to the pandemic.
Yeah, thanks for enlightening me and other people too about this topic.
No problem. Well, I guess that is all, and thank you for listening. Hope you have a great day.